I mean, after a while, I was like, what the heck? Am I Jennifer freaking Lopez just attracting engagements all the time? What's going on here? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to it. If you saw my hair, my face, and you're like, that's a video I want to watch, I appreciate it. My name is Jacy, and I like to do story times on this channel, as well as some roasts and some rants. Today's video is a Storytime Snippets video, and what that is that it is a compilation of short story times, all within the same thing, all within one video. Today I will be telling you guys about all of the engagements that have serendipitously happened around me that I somehow became a part of. And these are all strangers that just decide to get betrothed right in front of my face, and I have to take a photo of them or something. It was really weird how for a hot minute I was just attracting engagements everywhere I go. Very bizarre. So if you like videos like this, if you like story times, or if you like hanging out with me, I hope you'll consider subscribing because I'm trying to hit some new goals this year. And I like hanging out with you guys and telling some of the weird and bizarre things that have happened in my life, because these Storytime snippets are definitely some of them. But with that being said, let me tell you about some of the peculiar stories of people just getting beautifully engaged right in front of my face. Snippet number 1 begins about 3 years ago, where I was fresh out of an 8-year-long relationship. If you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out. I get a little emotional, but it does give some better insight into my background and the reasoning that I wanted to do certain things in this video. So one of them being was I had never been wine tasting and I wanted to go. So I had a friend who, she was about to turn 21 years old. She was a couple years younger than me, and I'd never been wine tasting. She obviously had never been wine tasting. So for her birthday, I got her a few Groupons to go to Temecula for a day out wine tasting. And the Groupons were for like, some were like individual wineries where, you know, you could get like a flight of something. And then I got her one Groupon for like a day-long thing of a wine tasting tour. So we were really excited. We got all dressed up, and I go and I pick her up on the day after her 21st birthday. And it was kind of funny. A little side snippet here was, she goes, listen, it was my 21st birthday last night. I am violently hungover and I'm kind of struggling here. We're like, it's all right, we'll just take it easy, like see how it goes. We go to the first winery to get like a flight, and she couldn't even have a sip of wine. She was like, I am going to puke even smelling all of this stuff. She's like, I'm really struggling here. So we ended up calling the whole day short. We didn't use all the Groupons because she was just not feeling it. And it was like, you know what, let's just save it for another time. This Groupon doesn't expire for another 6 months. You know, we have plenty of time to come back when we're both feeling better, and we can just make for a more fun day. So 5.5 months passed, and I'm like, oh shoot, like I gotta use that Groupon because it does expire. And I messaged her and I said, hey, can we go out again? Like we have pretty much 2 weeks to use this. Are you free? And she goes, I'm not free in the next 2 weeks. Take somebody else. Like we'll do something another time. So of course I didn't have a boyfriend at the time to drag along, and a lot of my other close friends weren't available. So I actually messaged my coworker, who was the photographer at my work. And I said, listen, would you like to go wine tasting with me? It's all paid for. I got you. The trade-off is that you have to take my DSLR camera and take pretty photos of me so I can post them on Instagram and try to be an influencer. And he was like, yeah, I'm down. So I was like, awesome, let's go. So I pick him up and we head to Temecula, and we were just gonna do the day tour Groupon that I had. So what I was expecting is, you know, they take you into the vineyards and then you go to the barrel room where they're squishing grapes with their feet and they show you the whole beautiful magical process. It was like that, but they don't squish grapes with their feet, which was pretty devastating to learn. Machines do it. Capitalism. Anyway, so I have my coworker there. He's carrying my big DSLR around his neck, and he was just instructed to just take photos of me the whole time. And it wasn't just the two of us on this tour. There was another family with us. I believe it was a family of 8. And you know, it was like the parents, the kids, and then their significant others, like kind of around our age. So the tour begins, and you know, they take you into the vineyards and they describe the grapes and how the seasonal elements of Temecula are perfect to grow this type of vine. And then they take you into the barrel room where they showed you how they age the wine within the barrels. And you know, again, my coworker is taking photos of me. Here's a photo from that back when I was a brunette, to show just kind of like what we were going for with this vision. I think this was like one of the only good photos we ended up getting. And then they show you the machines that crush the grapes, not the feet. So rude, still mad. And so the whole time during this tour, you know, we're with this family and it's been like a couple hours and we're starting to rub elbows and joke with them and make little snide remarks. And the reason for this also is because you are getting progressively more inebriated, because as you switch locations and scenes within the tour, they're giving you little testers of wine, and they're like, all right, so try our Pinot Noir while I explain to you while our Cabernet gets aged for 17 months in these barrels. You know, it's a wine tour. So we do the tour part for about an hour, and it's so fun because we're just like pretty buzzed by the end of it. We're lightweights, and again, I hadn't been drinking much before this, so I was very much a lightweight. And the tour ends where they take you into this really beautiful room, and there's this long communal dining table, and this was the meal part. It wasn't really a meal, it was more of a snack, but how it worked was, as part of our Groupon, they bring each pairing a charcuterie board. And so my coworker and I were sharing a charcuterie board, and then the wine tour guide would come around and ask us for 3 additional tasters that we wanted to try. So we had our menu, and it was so funny because my coworker that I was with, he was not enjoying the wine at all. He was actually really struggling with it, like the darker and more bitter they got. So he's looking at this menu and goes, what are your sweetest wines? Like, I'll take the Muscat. And he orders like just 3 of the sweetest wines that they possibly had. It was basically like sparkling juice at that point. I was doing a little bit better with the wines at this point, so I was getting some reds, but that might come in handy later in this story. Just wait. So again, we're at this big long community table. We're joking around with the family next to us, and I'm decently drunk. Like I'm not like flying off the walls incoherent, but I think I'm a little bit beyond buzzed at this point, where we're just both sitting there eating our crackers and cheese going, hey, I'm not okay to drive right now. We need to like hang out for a bit. Well, we get to go take photos in the vineyard, so that'll be fun. So as I'm sitting there talking to my coworker, the family next to us just gets up and leaves, and we kind of just notice it, and we weren't instructed to leave at all. So they kind of leave, and after about 5 minutes, we ask our wine tour guide, like, hey, are we done? Like, should we leave? And he goes, actually, do you guys mind waiting here for about like 15 more minutes? One of the people in that party is actually proposing to his girlfriend right now, so they wanted a little bit of privacy. And we, again, being drunk, were like, oh my God, can we watch? So this tour guy, he was like, yeah, like come with me, like we'll watch from afar, like I know a spot. So he takes us and like snakes us through the back end of this whole winery, like a part we didn't really even get to see on the tour. And we go to like this back window, and we're just looking through the back window like, oh my God, he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. Sure enough, we see one of the guys from this family that we'd been hanging out with get down on one knee and put a ring on his girlfriend's finger. And it was so cute because it was a beautiful backdrop with the vineyards in the background. And, you know, the family starts clapping, and we had like the perfect front row view of it, which was really cool. So after they kind of like do their hugging and congratulations after about 10 minutes, we both go out there and we're like, yes, happy engagement. We're so excited for you, as if we have somehow known them for years and knew this was coming and didn't just meet them an hour ago. So we're like hugging this family. And the funniest part about this whole thing was they saw my coworker taking photos of me. They see this big DSLR around his neck. They just had this huge milestone event in their lifetime. And they look at him and they go, hey, can you take some photos of us to commemorate this moment? And again, we're both very, very drunk, and we go, hell yes, we will. So for the next 20 minutes, my coworker is just like taking him through the vineyards, getting like beautiful shots, like taking angles of the sun, getting down on like his knees, going up, getting them kissing shots. Like he was fully directing a photo shoot. And because we're just in a happy mood, we're just like talking to them, asking them like more about like where they're from, where the wedding's gonna be, how far they traveled from, that sort of thing. So after about like 25 minutes, you know, as we're sobering up, I'm like, this is a free photo shoot we're giving them. Like, maybe we shouldn't have done this. And I was also getting jealous because I was like, wait, I wanted the photo shoot. Like, what's going on? But, you know, we were still so excited for them, and we were happy to share in their moment. And so after about a half hour, we're like, all right, guys, well, we need to start getting out of here. Like, it was really cool. Give us your email. And my coworker I don't know if he edited the photos. I don't think he ended up like editing them to a T, because he was a photographer and he wasn't about to give them a free service. But he was like, yeah, I'll just send you the photos so you can do whatever you want. You can put whatever Instagram filter you'd like on them. So the sweetest part about this whole thing was after we were done, you know, we're kind of just saying like, hey, like, thanks so much. And the mom comes out with 2 bags, and she hands one to each of us, and she goes, hey, we asked the wine tour guide which wines you guys were drinking, and he said you were drinking the orange muscat. So we really wanted to thank you guys and give you each a bottle of wine for doing this whole photo shoot for us and being a part of this moment and kind of making it extra special. And so that's when I was like, oh, like it was kind of worth it. That was really sweet because I happen to know for a fact that those bottles were like $40 each. So, you know, it was like they paid us $100 in wine, which was really funny. And I think the most hilarious part of this all was that after we were done and sobered up and we were safe to drive home and I got all the other pictures I wanted, we hop in the car and my coworker looks at me and he goes, you know, I still really didn't even like this wine. You keep it. And I was like, LeVar, like, thank you. That's so nice. Even though you did all the work with the photography, I just kind of stood there and was the hype man, like, kiss her, show the ring. Yeah, marriage. So that was like my first run-in with an engagement happening in front of me where I was like almost directly involved, which is interesting because it ended up happening again. So snippet number 2 was about a year after that. I was going to Viva Las Vegas with my mom. I go to Vegas all the freaking time since I was a kid because we actually have family that lives out there, and my grandma and grandpa, who are now passed away, also lived out in the area. So we were going to like the Vegas area my whole life, never to like Vegas. I think I've only ever been to one club in Las Vegas. I don't even think I've ever been drunk in Las Vegas, which is kind of nuts, but I go every year, which is weird. I don't know. But I was going with my mom, and it's so funny because clearly I have waves of trying to be an influencer because this was definitely another wave of me going for the sole purpose of getting photos. So on our way into Las Vegas, we stopped at the 7 Magic Mountains, which if you aren't familiar, it's an art display of just giant painted boulders stacked one on top of the other. So we stopped there and got some good photos, which I will include here. That was another fun thing. And, you know, we go and we hang out with my aunt. Oh, that's what it was. We were house sitting for my aunt this specific time. And I was in Vegas, but I didn't want to, again, go to these clubs because I was by myself with my mom. I wasn't going to take her down to Hakkasan to go fist bump with me. So what I did is in my aunt's house, I got dressed up in a cute little dress. I put on heels and I put apple cider. This is so fake, you guys. This is why social media isn't real. I put apple cider in like a champagne flute and I was just taking photos of myself in her house for an hour. And I tried to make it look like I was at some cool Vegas hotel. I geotagged Vegas because that was accurate, but it was like, nah, I'm not anywhere cool. I'm just going to put pajamas and watch Murder, She Wrote right after this. So that's kind of the backstory of why my mom and I decided to go to the infamous Las Vegas sign. So this is like the welcome to Las Vegas sign that you just have to go take a photo of if you're stopping into the city because, you know, it's a city that never sleeps. You want to document it. And even though what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, photos don't stay. They go on social media. So my mom and I hop into the car to go to get some good photos of the Las Vegas sign. So of course we park and we walk up and it's this weird just like strip in the street kind of thing. And there was a line to take photos, which of course there was. Everybody's trying to get photos of this. So I was kind of gearing up the settings on my camera so I could be like, hey mom, we don't have like minutes and minutes to do a little photo shoot here. So just take as many as you can. Just hold the button down and I'll just move. I'll just model while you just hold the camera. So I don't know why this happened again, but the very couple directly in front of us, they go up to the sign to take their photo. Now I thought it was kind of weird because usually when it's a couple trying to get a photo together, they'll ask the people behind them like, hey, can you take our photo? And they didn't, which is fine. But I think that was extra more interesting for what happened next. So they go to the sign and then they just start taking like selfies so that the sign is directly behind them. She puts her phone in her pocket and then the boyfriend gets down on one knee, pulls out a ring box and asks her to marry him. And she of course like gasps and goes, yes, absolutely. And then they take another selfie with just like the sign in the background of like, hey, we're engaged. And then they start to walk off. And so during this whole time, that's it from their perspective. From our perspective, we're just watching them like, all right, tick tock tick. I gotta go viral on Instagram. Like I need to take my photo. Let's go. Oh my God, he's proposing. Oh my God, he's proposing. Again, I have a DSLR camera around my neck. So I start taking photos and I'm like, oh my God, like he's proposing. And then they walk away so quickly that it was our turn next. So I was like, okay, mom, like, come on, quickly, let's go take a photo of me. Let's go take a photo of me. We get our quick photos. And then I quickly try to go run after them to be like, give me your email. I just caught your engagement, like live sort of thing. You didn't have anybody taking photos. What's your email? I could not find them. And this was in a span of like 4 minutes. Within 4 minutes of them getting engaged, they had booked it to their car and they just drove away. And I couldn't get their email. But here's that photo. I ended up posting it on social media. I don't know where all the raw photos are, like if I were to ever find them again. But I thought it was so insane how this guy was planning on proposing to his girlfriend in front of the Vegas sign, make it this beautiful moment, but didn't think to ask anybody around to get other photos. I mean, they probably have 2 phones. They could have taken the selfies on one phone, but then asked us to take photos. Like, that would have been crazy. But if you recognize the people in this photo, let me know I have a photo of their engagement, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime milestone, and I was kind of happy to have captured it, but sad that they didn't get a third-person perspective of it. So that was just another weird story of how an engagement happened right in front of me and how I seemingly was a part of it unwillingly, but happily so. The third and final snippet, I wasn't actually a part of, but I wanted to tell it because it was so cute. So my mom and I are musical theater nerds. You guys should know this by now. And if you don't, you should be following me on social media, because we are going to shows all of the time. We have season tickets to the Pantages Theater, so we're always going to musicals. It's kind of our thing. So we had gone to see In the Heights kind of near my hometown, and it was more of a local production rather than a big traveling touring Broadway show, which is always nice. You know, you got to switch it up, and those are more fun because usually we might know somebody in the show, or it just has that more non-professional element to it, I guess I would describe. So those are always fun. So we watch In the Heights, and the guy who plays Usnavi was wonderful. Like, we've seen In the Heights before, and we're like, this Usnavi is so great, like so wonderful, just kind of like praising him as we're watching the show. So the show ends, and you know, they're doing their little curtain call, and Usnavi comes up and he starts doing like a little speech. And he starts saying how I have always wanted to play this role. You know, there's a representation issue within musical theater, and finding a role that was so perfect for me was not only so exciting, but something to work towards. And it has just been a dream come true being able to play this role. And so we're all just in the audience, and we're all still standing because you give a standing ovation when they do their curtain call. But then he kind of starts talking. So everybody starts sitting down of like, oh, this is like a speech. What's going on here? Then he starts talking about how when he had first gotten cast as Usnavi, not actually in this production, but in another production, he had met a woman on the cast with him, and he fell in love with her. And he starts kind of just singing his praises about this woman. And that's when we're all just kind of like, what's going on? So he described it as he met this woman on the cast, they fell in love, they've been dating for several years, and now he's reprising his role as Usnavi. She wasn't in the production that we had seen, but she was right there in the front row. So he goes, oh, I'm getting like the chills talking about it. It was so sweet. So he goes, can you come up here? Like, can you come up here? So she's kind of caught off guard, and she stands up reluctantly and walks onto the stage with a little bit of hesitance. You know, she's shy and she's like, what's happening? Like, why are you calling me on stage? He grabs her hand and gets down on one knee, and he asks her to marry him. And oh my gosh, did this theater go crazy. It was so cool to see, like, you know, not only just this musical production where these people are playing these characters for 2 hours, but then go out of character and become the human individuals that they are and see this huge personal milestone in their life. And he starts saying like a couple things more about it. And of course she says yes, gives him a big old hug and puts the ring on her finger. And it was so cool because, again, you wouldn't see that on like a Broadway. Actually, you might see it in like a Broadway production, but to just feel like this huge life event happen in front of you, feel all the love in the room, all the support for this stranger that, yes, you've just gotten to know for the past 2 hours, but feel like such a big part of this moment for him. It was so cool. And so of course I recorded it. And it was just a really cool moment. And again, just another stranger getting engaged in front of me where I'm just like, why does it keep happening? But it was just another funny story that I wanted to tell you guys. So those were 3 snippets of 3 engagements that happened in front of me that I felt pretty involved with, unwillingly. They were all a surprise to me, but it was so funny because after all these engagements, I kind of started like asking the universe of, are you doing this because I just broke up with my boyfriend and refused to get married? Like, is that what's happening? That like you're punishing me by seeing other happy couples get engaged? I didn't feel like negatively affected by it. I just thought it was kind of funny how I never saw anybody get engaged until after my breakup. So kind of weird, kind of weird. But let me know in the comments if you have any cool or unique engagement stories, or if you have kind of witnessed love stories happen right in front of you, because it's a fun world out there. People are falling in love, and sometimes you get to be a part of their love story, even even if you're just a background character. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you'll tune in for the next one. I hope you'll subscribe so you can join along for future videos. And I hope that you guys like hanging out with me. That's all. I'll see you in the next one. Toodles! All right, you guys ready to see how the magic ends when I turn off the camera? So I'm in sweats, obviously. So I have to take these down because I have these big black Velcro stickers. I have to hang up this mirror because I need to see myself before I leave. So I hang up this mirror, but I can't have it in the video because then you'll see yourself and that's not very fun. And then this hook is where I hang all my masks. Don't want that in my background, not very fun. And then I got my security bar so nobody can come in. And that's how I set up for my videos to create the illusion that I live such an aesthetically pleasing life. See, I could never film like this. I'd probably be scaring myself. I'd be like, ha ha ha, who's that? Who's there? And I'm probably out of focus. All right, bye.